Good morning. It's time for my meditation. So, as usual, I'm gonna rest my awareness in the atom of my third eye. I'm gonna use the timer, 20-minute meditation. One bell to start the meditation, another bell to signal that there's 2 minutes left, and then 3 bells to signal that's the end of the meditation. I snap my fingers to get out of the meditation. And I'll also be using the throat friction, where I just breathe in through my nose and breathe out through my nose, and causing friction while I breathe in my throat. And then at the end of the 20 minutes, I'll be sharing some realizations, insights, observations, or whatever comes into my mind by then. Okay, dive in, see you on the other side. So in my meditation today, earlier, it just happened, there was the usual thoughts, and then, as I mentioned before, I just let the thoughts come and go. It's a bit like in the litany against fear that the Bene Gesserit in the June universe, they say, I will not fear, fear is a man killer, I will let fear pass through me, and then when it has gone through, I would look at it through the inner eye, and then when the fear is gone, there's nothing left of me. It's a bit like that. In that litany against fear, that Bene Gesserit just lets the fear pass through them. In meditation, I just let the thoughts come and go. There was a thought on what's happening upstairs, someone's drilling, what's the noise, and all the usual. But there were also other interesting thoughts that came in, and for some reason I got thinking about physics and cosmology, and maybe it's because I listened to this podcast between two cosmologists, which kind of relates to. So those are the thoughts. But then when my consciousness really rested in my device, and I involuted. So again, involuting is the action of going inside. There's this like TARDIS-like effect, because I imagine the atom to be like this small sphere, and then I go in, and then when I go in, it opens up like in different spaces, and there's sounds, and I feel like there's a movement through tunnels, and there was a white light that was really high above, and then there's some presence. And yeah, and again, with my meditation, I'm a traveler in this spaces, so while I'm there, I don't really try to make sense of it using my rational mind, because it will take me out, because it's a different part of the brain, I would say. And also, it's like in most theological systems, it's always reason and revelation. So while I'm in meditation, I'm in revelation mode, see what's there, and then now when I come out, I can think about it, and that's the reason part. So I guess I'll talk about that, the cosmology part, because I was thinking, when I was listening to these two cosmologists talking in the podcast, they thought about, so what we know in the universe comes from the fact that we could see light. So the known universe, really, we know it because we're measuring light coming from distant objects, and then through that they know that the universe is expanding, because we keep seeing objects that are getting farther and farther away from us, light years away from us. So it took light years and years to get to us, to our telescopes. So let's say a star is 100 light years away, so that light left that star 100 years ago. It's like ridiculous. So so and then this may be beyond my what I understand, but through some calculations they thought they were able to figure out that if it's expanding like away from each other, the objects in the visible universe, then if you roll back the calculations, then there will be a point in time when everything was in one place, hence the well-known Big Bang. But then they were saying, so in the moment before the Big Bang, everything that we see now in the universe is in a tiny space, you know, and so it's highly ordered and then it expands, you know. So the thing is, there's this another law in physics, the conservation of mass and energy. So you can't, according to this law, you can't create energy and mass. It can never be destroyed. You can transform one from the other. So how did it happen that in a tiny bit, and then suddenly you have all this vast visible universe without creating new stuff? But clearly there's new stuff. So the way they explained it is in mathematics, I mean, this is a theory anyway, that you know, you have negative numbers and positive numbers, and if you add them, let's say negative 100 plus positive 100 is 0. So it can be negative 1 trillion plus positive 1 trillion is still 0. So let's say that the whole universe is at the end of the day balances out to 0. Then it can start with negative 1 and positive 1, and then you can keep increasing the number, but the overall balance is still 0. So that's one way to look at it. And also they spoke about how there's dark matter and dark energy, and these are things that scientists are still figuring out what it is. It's called dark because we can't see it through light. As I said before, most of the things we know is by studying the light, the spectrum of light, and where they come from, and the spectrum, and then because of the spectrum we can get the chemistry of the things that emanated that light. But with dark matter and dark energy, it's dark because you can't see it through light, but it has to be there in order for the universe to make sense. Like, apparently it was Einstein just made a joke when he put a cosmological constant to balance out his equations in one of his equations, and then now we're finding out that oops, it's actually true, you know, it could be dark energy, dark matter. And the way I understood it and the way they explained it is, you know, when you have particles like electrons, protons, neutrons, apparently these particles come out of the vacuum or come out of the electromagnetic field when the field is excited. Boom. And I think that's what they were doing in the Hadron Collider. They were able to, when they collided particles, they create new particles because of the high energy. So when you super excite the field, it spits out particles. It's a bit like, I think it was Lawrence Krauss made a joke that it's spanking the vacuum. When you spank the vacuum, boom, particles come out. So that's another way of seeing that. Let's say that the universe is like an ocean, and the ocean is the dark matter and the dark energy, or let's say the dark energy. When it gets excited, the waves, when the particles come out. So it doesn't mean that when there's no wave, then there's nothing in the universe. The ocean is still there, it's just quiet. So maybe dark matter is that background, the ocean before the wave. And it relates to meditation because I was thinking maybe a theory. When I meditate, when people meditate, we tap into that field. That's why it's so weird that I'm here, but when I meditate, I go to another space that seems infinite. It just goes on and it's full of different. You have to see it. You have to do it yourself. You have to see it, know for yourself, see for yourself. That inside meditation, the light I see, because my eyes are closed, of course, but I see in through my consciousness is different from this light. It's much finer and it's more vibrant. It's more dynamic, and the sounds are really fine and high pitch, and there's more. It feels like a more intentional universe inside when I involute into my device. This like a more. It's a bit like the universe is before. It was low. It was a low entropy before the big. At the moment of the Big Bang, that order. It was highly ordered, and then second law of thermodynamics, the universe is going to less order, but we need that less order because if that didn't happen, there'll be no planets, there'll be no stars, there'll be nothing. It will just be one highly ordered thing, highly packed thing. So it needed to be unpacked. But in a way, we're still living off as a open system. Like my body is an open system. I'm still eating. We're still eating from that orderliness that started in the Big Bang. We're just still riding the low entropy of the Big Bang, or from the starting point of the known universe. Of course, we don't know what happened before that. So I digress, but that is the meditation for this morning, and it's Monday, so enjoy the rest of your Monday. Peace.